Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of Rollin 60 Crip, Banker T. Banker T was born Lonnie Patterson around 1960. He spent his years growing up in the area, which would later be known as the Rollin 60s. With the formation of Crips arriving in Los Angeles in the early 70s and spreading through several areas in South Central, and later, several other communities, the area that Banker T would live in would be heavily affected by the Crips, and Crips would have several gangs formed using the Crip identity. Many would dispute when the Rollin 60 Crips were actually started. Many people would say it would have started from around 1974 to 1976, and Banker T would come from that original time point where the Rollin 60s were first formed, being one of the first generation Rollin 60s. The Rollin 60s in the 70s would quickly gain a name for having several members who were well known for putting in work in the streets and being known in wars. The Rollin 60s' original rivals were the Inglewood gangs like the Inglewood Family Bloods, who were originally called the Chain Gang, and several other Inglewood gangs that were founded, like Crenshaw Mafia Bloods and the Neighborhood Power Rules, and also gangs like the Brims on the west side of South Central. The Rollin 60s' first rivals were Bloods, but by the end of the 70s, their Crip allies would become rivals, and the Rollin 60s would be an early gang beefing with once allied Crip gangs. Several Crip gangs would split up and make several new allies, and collectors of gangs from different areas will form what is known today as cars, which are different gangs teaming up together, forming an alliance to take on enemy gangs that are rivals. The Rollin 60s would join the Neighborhood Car, which main rivals would be several blood gangs, the Gangster Crip Car, who was also formed, and the Hoovers. But even though the 60s joins the Neighborhood Car, they would later have a few beef with gangs in the Neighborhood Car. In the 60s, we even have some internal beefs with each other, and that leads us to the story. The 60s are one of the largest gangs in the whole LA County, and later the world. The 60 community holds a lot of turf, and with a big hood, it'll be many different streets and cliques within the gang, like Back Hood, Avenues, and Front Hood, which are all several cliques within that 60 hood, and there's also several more. Banker T was a well-loved Rollin 60 member who was respected and had love all throughout the sections of the 60s hood. Outside of being a gang member, he was known to be a player and a real hustler, known for being one of the biggest hustlers to ever come out the Rollin 60s. And the Rollin 60s have always been known for being a money-getting hood, known for flocking, robbing banks, and being big drug dealers during the height of the drug trade, and even after. Banker T was known for his signature Jerry curl and being one of the freshest Crips of that generation, along with having a lot of money, a lot of women, and nice cars. Banker T was known for his high character and his charisma, which attracted many people to him and made them gravitate towards him. He was a natural-born leader and was known to look out for his community and also his younger homies by giving them guidance and even giving them money if they needed it. Banker T's influence runs so deep in the 60s, it's still shown today, with many people saying he came up with many terms that the 60s use. So what will come in the year 1994 would send shockwaves in the Rollin 60 community. Allegedly around 1994, Banker T will be in the 60s section of the Avenues, and he would supposedly get into an argument with his girlfriend, and the car would drive up, and he would be shot to death in the Avenues territory. Speculation would be internal beef, with another Rollin 60 member being said to have killed Banker T over a female. Banker T was a huge loss for the Rollin 60s. He meant a lot to their hood and the structure of the 60s. He is one of the most talked about and highly remembered Rollin 60 members to this day, even though he died over 30 years ago. Banker T is even talked about in several songs among the younger Rollin 60 rappers, like Pac-Man the Gunman and Conrad from the Ave. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.